Been a big day. Alright, so what have we got here? Anyone need to verse anyone has any idea on what to do versus boring AFK style like turtle mech? I tried my best, still lost. Trades were bad, but I thought I needed to do some damage to slow the mech down. I don't know. D3, I think army composition was bad. Should have done Sir Infested Ravagers. Broodlords maybe, but he was going air and I crushed his BCs and thors and tanks came out of his base. I don't know how to break this Terran. Because every time I attack everything dies, even with Viper Blinding Clouds. Maybe I should just fucking all in them every time I see them. See they don't expand that much, I don't know. Let's have a look. Oh, I gotta open it first. Where are we? I'm recording already. I've got to open it. Ask Gemini. I don't think that I will. AKD. Alright, we spawned in with 4 less drones than normal, so we're off to a really bad start. We haven't even... We're 17 seconds in, and we haven't even moved the Overlord. Interesting. I get the feeling that we get surprised by all-ins a lot. I've never seen the Overlord not move. I don't know. Was this not intention? Is that intentional? Apologies for the mic as well. Like, I just can't. I've got a desktop mic. It just doesn't work. This is the best I can do. I feel like the spawning pool timing seems good enough. We've got a drone bouncing around, which is forcing other drones to bounce around, as we can see. This fella here did a lot of bouncing. Now he's going to make other drones bounce around. So we need to fix this kind of stuff. We see them wobbling around like this. We need to get them allocated to a patch. How does the timing work out here, I wonder? We got 1 queen, 2 queens. Could we have... just a point of like difference here, or like a slight optimization, right? Something to think of next time you play. So I believe the same guy was asking about the build order and like the basic build order. But if you know your hatchery is like 2 seconds from finishing, don't build an Overlord because now you can't afford the queens, right? So this is like a slight optimization worth being supply blocked for a second if it means you're going to get 2 queens out anyway instantly, because now our queens are going to be staggered, which isn't much staggering. Not a lot of staggering, so that's okay, but it'd be really nice to just have avoided that Overlord until the queens were started and get on that. We have no scouting whatsoever, which feels insane to me. I don't know if it feels insane to you, but it feels insane to me. This is so absolutely dangerous. You have no idea what he has, you have no idea how he's opened, you have no idea if he's gone 3cc like on location, or if he's got like 4 racks in his base and he's marching across the map. There is no information. We have the Lings out, but the Reaper's not coming because we don't know if the Reaper's coming, right? So you built the Lings for nothing, and since there's no Reaper now, the Lings should go across the map, or at least, yes, thank you, something good. Want to keep an eye on this. How are we spending? I feel like this third is probably too early. I feel like a lot of people are taking the later thirds. It might be just the people I've been watching, but a lot of people are taking later thirds. Absolutely not. That's good. Engineering bay at the wall. I don't mind it. I wish we could have got 2 instead, but yeah, I don't mind it. Going up here would have been really nice though, just to split one off, bring them down here, grab one up here, and just see what's being built. Hellions is pretty standard. Seeing a lot of Hellion openers, and I'm glad they're still in fashion. I hate playing against them myself, but it's good to see that they're still going strong. We're holding on gas, we're not getting off it, which I'm not bothered by either. I'm not huge on that optimization. But what I'm sensing is going to be a problem, right, is we're going to have no vision for, if we start droning here, we're not going to have overlords out here, we're not going to have overlords here, we're not going to have overlords here to be able to pick up any rotations in any of the normal spots, right? We've got overlords over our bases as well, which clutters the screen. We've got an overlord sitting here as well. These things clutter the screen, and when you need to, they're going to make it hard to actually click the right thing. I think it's just easy to get rid of them. They have no overlords in dead space. Like, every overlord you build needs to have a job, right? So if this is me playing and I can see dead space and I know there's no overlord going there, it's going to be like a 1 SV rally it here, 1 SV rally it here, 1 SV rally here, 1 SV rally here, and then it's nothing but drones or lings or whatever I need to be making. But to not have anything is crazy. It's also like, be checking the map with your ling instead of just leaving it outside your opponent's base. Absolutely crazy. Now, if this was me as a Terran, I saw one queen here and no lings. Yeah, this is what happens. You get barbecued drones. This could have very easily been avoided, right? We're floating lava while this is happening. There's no reason we need to be microing this so hard that we can't press 1 SD. How many lava we got? We got 7 lava floating across the hatcheries. We could have taken another hatchery during this because there's probably no production behind it. Absolutely right. He's not making anything else except for a raven, which he probably started before this attack even began, and therefore floating a shit ton of money as well. If you'd have just made... these lings are too late. You need to have, I think, even like 6 to 10 lings. I think it's 10 lings for the first 4 Hellions to be safe. And then, yeah, that you need to catch them and then don't chase banelings in front of them. I'm not sure about that. We're floating lava here. We're doing everything but making... Oh no, we are making some drones. But all this stuff was just a little bit too late. The creep spread's nice. It's getting out there finally. We're floating a ton of money and we're floating a ton of gas we don't seem to have a real use for. We're sitting on 2 gases, but we're only on 43 drones, which means there's not much separation here between us and the Terran. After already losing 8 workers, we're behind here. So yeah, not looking great. The spore crawler is good, but we could avoid building these things if we knew that this was Mech, right? I mean, he's got a starport and he's building Vikings, which is a bit odd, but realistically, like, there's been no information from this. You're playing completely blind. You're not droning that hard. You're not spreading overlords. Your creep is probably the best thing that's going on right now because you actually are using the queens to spread creep. We could easily afford to be on a 3rd base. We're floating gas, which I'm glad is probably going to hopefully go into these now. But we've got a 6-minute layer, which I feel like is also kind of a bit late. And we're trying to saturate more gases while only on like 45 drones, floating 10 lava. A lot's going wrong here. We're playing blind. All these things put you in a game state that you don't know anything about. You literally don't know anything about it. You have no idea what's going. He's built the Viking and gone to like the common overlord spots because you should have overlords here. You should have overlords here. You should have scouted something at this point of the game, and yet you don't. While this is happening, I'd love to see what we're looking at, right? This is important here. We're floating 10 lava this entire time, right? We build drones to put into the gases, drones to put in the gases. I think that was handled really well. I feel like that was quite clean. We get this off, which is good. We're going to wait till we get more. I don't know why his Hellions are there anyway. Maybe he must have misclicked them, right? And now we're supply blocked. So we're supply blocked, so we can't be building more stuff. While this is happening, while your units are moving, you should be going back to 1S and then having a look up here. It doesn't have to be in this exact order, but 1S, Having a look up here, I've got tons of fucking money, I got tons of gas, I got no supply. We need overlords. Build 5 overlords. Who gives a shit? Just build 5 overlords, and then you see this, right? Do we want to take this fight? Probably not, right? So you need to decide in that split moment whether you want to take this fight. Absolutely not, I don't want to take this fight. 2, right click back, and then come up here, get your upgrades. The lair's still going, it's got a couple seconds to go. But in that, and then we're spending on, as soon as we can, we're spending on drones, right? Because this lead is getting better, but it still could be a lot better, and we really want this 4th as well. I don't think we can afford all that junk. So we're mucking around with this when we should be spending. Why would you run in there? This is turtle mech. You know, at 6 minutes 50, this is going to be some turtle mech bullshit, possibly with a raven, right? There's again no scouting. He hasn't got a 3rd base. He's not even producing well. Like, he's literally making into infernal pre-igniter and nothing else, right? We have so much capacity here to do so much, and we're not doing it. Where are you going? Yeah, get back here and inject. The creep spread's really good though. I feel like for D3, for where we are, where we're struggling on the ladder, I feel like this is really good. But this could be improved with just an overlord here, overlords here. What if you get dropped? You literally have no idea. The Terran could come in here, put like 6 or 7 siege tanks in here. You'd have no clue about it, and then 1 here. And as you run up to kill it, you just get bombarded and you lose everything. We're going for Carapace and melee because we still don't understand that we're actually playing against Mech. And that's a problem, right? We had the 4 Hellions come in. I'm gonna hit you with some wisdom here. The 4 Hellions came in, they died, got 8 drones, fantastic stuff. It's actually 400 minerals for 400 minerals. It's basically a perfect trade. But then you went back to his base. He had a Raven and he had a bunch of Hellions again. That is Mech. No Terran is opening like 10 Hellions and a Raven and then switching into Bio. It's not happening, and it will never happen. I promise you. So you not understanding that is a huge problem in itself, right? Because at no point you thought, I need to switch my tactics here. You're already 7.5 minutes in, and you don't know what you're playing against, really. And if you've done this, you've done the Carapace by default, then don't do that. Like, have a stop for a second and think about where the game is and what's happened so far. What conclusions can you draw from what you have seen, and maybe even from what you've not seen. Sometimes what you don't see is also a tell, right? If you get your scouting blocked, that tells you that something's up, right? If they go out of their way extremely, like a Protoss building a Stalker first, going out of their way, what are you hiding? And so this tells me a lot. This tells me that you don't know what you're actually looking for. Again, I really want to praise the creep spread. 22 tumors is pretty bloody good. What I'd be worried about here is this turning into some hellbeats, because he does have the armory. We'd know if we scouted, but this is really good creep clearing, right? He's not wasting any energy on this. And honestly, the Lings, if they try and approach this, if he's quick enough, could get really badly burnt. As you'll see here, if he pulls back, gives it a second, boom, gives it a second, boom, gives it a second. Huge losses there, right? And it's really easy for the Zerg to just think they can A-move this, but look, he's killed all the Banes as well. Huge fucking trade. And that's why, versus this shit, you probably just need to drop a Roach Warren when you see Mech. Mech is just handled a lot easier with Roaches. You can have Lings for backstabs and stuff, but honest to God, yeah, like 10 Lings in here, half of those Lings over here right now would have killed the third, or at least severely damaged his ability to take the third. He's floating so much money, right? Think about this, right? The 2,000 resources you're now down behind, he's also up in how much he's floating, and you're floating this much as well. If these were Roaches, I think you just win this game. If this was Roach Ravager, you win the game right now. That's all it is. It's very simple stuff. 6 lava, you're Your harvesting is pretty much even, right? You had a little bit of a lead, but not enough lead to overcome this. Floating a ton of gas that you seem to have no purpose with. You're getting into, oh, we're just popping a infestation pit. I wonder how long it takes us to actually build the hive. But yeah, this can be handled by queens. Please transfuse it. Like, just go into hive, go Hydralisks and just yoink his tanks or whatever. Who cares? And like, Hellions can do okay against Hydralisks, but only with tank support. If they have to approach the Hydralisks, they're nowhere near as good. Yay! I don't actually mind this at all. What's Terran up to? We don't know. Supply blocked at 87. Building a bunch of factories. If he builds any thick units, they're probably not going to be able to get out of this gap, and they might not be able to get out of this gap either. Like, that's good news for us, I guess. Went armor plating first, and I'm not sure whether we prefer that or not. And starting to build secondary planetaries and stuff like that. So this is where we start getting real turtly. We haven't really adapted to any of this. Now we're getting into a good drone count, but we could have been here minutes ago if we'd have just respected this and understood what we were facing beforehand. Explain to me how this one tank and these Hellions stops like 15, 20 roaches just walking in and taking the natural over. And I promise you it doesn't. The only thing that might help is getting the anti-armor missiles on, because -3 armor is pretty sick. Oh, it's only 2. -2 armor is actually pretty sick. Again, the creep spread's really well done. We're pushing it back out again. I mean, it could be better, of course, but everything else considered, I think it's pretty good. I would love to see again. He's only got Hellions on the ground assaulting, so even overlords as far as like here, even a changeling here, just to give us more vision, would be fantastic. Oh, it's because I've got it selected. That's why it's showing me. But now we're getting mad turtly now. He's spent his money, so now that we've got all these pumping, this is when we can start running into problems. I actually kind of like the Raven. I think that's pretty cool actually for creep clearing. Have we got Hydralisk upgrades? Okay, yeah, I was going to say they looked a bit slow. We want to send maybe a couple of lings in first. We don't want to dive in with everything because we don't know what he's got. Changelings, overlords, overseers right now would be sick, so we can actually see what's happening here. We would want to, with this, attack here and then come into this. We've A-moved this, we've A-moved the Banes into here. They can't go in there without killing this. So now they're going to go around. Mine's going to get a good hit. Boom. The tanks are going to get a bunch of easy kills here. Like this attack could have been a lot better. Boom, boom, boom. When we finally get in there, we do alright. We trade horribly, right? But look at the money we're floating. If you just remax right now, not on fucking rules. What is it with players just obsessing about remaxing on garbage fucking lings? If this was like, if you'd had spent all this on Hydralisks and done this exact same thing and you A-moved into this, I fucking guarantee he doesn't hold this at all. There's no way he holds this if this was like another 25 or something Hydralisks. You've even got more lava. You could do it again. And we're getting triple upgrades because why not? We're finally getting into the hive. Oh, we're coming around. We're trying to kill this desperately. And we're just going to lose another army to the planetary. Beautiful. How many kills? 23 kills. 2+ armor on on vehicles. And he's starting... Liberators. Very odd turtle style. I guess he sees you going ground and he knows what he wants to do. That's fair enough. Probably speed this up for a little bit. We do have a good drone economy. It's not great. I'd rather it be at like 90. But we are building every kind of tech except for the one kind of tech that just stomps this, which is literally broodlords. Build triple spire, like you've got the money here, just build triple spire, drone up like mad, put a couple spore spine down, and just get into broodlords as quickly as you can. This terran is finally pushing out. What worries me now is this. Oh, we're making banelings. He sees you. He sieges that. Now, what we don't want here, right? If we are going to attack into this, what we don't want is the lings pretty much to go first. We kind of want a bit of a mix, and we want the banelings to try and land on the hellbats. So they're just going to walk straight through. I don't know if we want to commit to this. I'm hoping that we don't, but looks like we do. I think you've got more than enough to run this over. If you just get good connections on the hellbats, absolute slaughter. Slaughter. Okay, so just do that again. Like once you have, when you're playing versus mech, right? Once you have a fight like that, you just need to do the same thing again and just keep crashing into them. Once you get one really good fight against terran mech, you just need to keep crashing into them. You have the money, you have the infrastructure, everything like that. You are, what are we talking here? It's exactly, I'm so bad at maths. Is it a 7k army versus like a 8k army? Your army's just too swarmy here. It's too big. He took too long to get the numbers up. He's floating too much gas. We've got the Liberators as well, which are mad expensive. Liberating, he should be getting damage for this, because they do amazing damage. We don't get this though, do we? Alright, so he went from 8k to 3k, and you're still at 5k. So it's a 2k deficit, right? A 3k Terran army is nothing really to a 5k Zerg army, especially when you've got Ultralisks here. You've got every bit of tech that you need. We don't want to fight the planetary. We just want to just get in here and crush everything that we can get into. Please don't take this fight. Please don't take this fight. Oh. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. You can see it. It's a freebie, I guess. Getting creep spread's good. Again, it could be better, but creep spread is good. We're letting the Terran build up again to that 8k army, and then we're going in, right? There's no reason to give him all this time and all the time in the world that we have been, when our economy is this good, and we've taken no real damage besides that initial run by. There's no need. We've given him way too much time. Why are we attacking into the one fucking position that is defended? We get in, which is okay. What's our army value? Again, it's like 7k versus like 11k, and it's like 7-8 versus 132. Why are we attacking into this? Why are we not dropping changelings before? His army value went down like 3k, and yours went down like 6. Units lost from 7-8. He lost what, 2k, 2.5k, maybe 3k, and you lost 8. You can't afford to keep taking these trades, so you need a unit that counters this. And there was mention in the chat about, oh, I can't go broodlords because he had Vikings. Why the hell Why has he done this? Maybe he anticipates broodlords and he doesn't feel like thors do quite well enough. I feel like this is a really weird choice. Now, he's really turtling up here. Oh, this could be good. Nope. Never mind. We've got lurkers. He's got bases here. Burrow up somewhere here. This is ridiculous. Burrow up somewhere here. Kill the tank. And then get into the juicy SCVs. If he pulls down his army to come have a look, then you could run by it with a bunch of lings and kill the tanks. We're going to attack in. No? Cool. So while this is happening, what's the transition here? We got one Viper with not enough energy to do anything except for consume, which is free, so it doesn't count. We have so much money here and not enough gas, so boom, grab them, boom, grab them. What's going on up here? You're all okay. I would just like be double stacking, triple stacking injects here. Same thing here, boom here, boom here. And then our gas income is going to start looking like 2k. And our minerals is going to start looking like 2.5, but we're already holding 6k in the bank. So we don't need any of that. So what we want to do, what we need to do in situations like this is break him and leave. You don't have to run into 14 siege tanks or even 8 siege tanks or 7 siege tanks. Break the wall, then pick up and move, go somewhere else and do the same up here. Right, and then he has his base completely open. You can start just running ultralisks into him or lings or whatever. This is a really easy way to break a turtle terran, because if he doesn't have the money to keep re-walling, he will start what's the word? He will start hemorrhaging workers and hemorrhaging and taking really bad fights, because he won't be able to get away with just easily re-walling like he is. Like you said, it's a pretty AFK style, but his APM isn't bad considering he's not really doing a lot. We're finally getting into Spire. We've got some idle workers. We're about to have a lot of idle workers. I think you have all the right tools here. We just need to execute a bit better. Gold base probably should have been taken earlier. Nah, don't even fight it. It's a cute little run bar. I like it though, because this could actually get a lot of damage if it gets in somewhere nice. What he could be doing here though is just like splitting half of these off and setting them up here, or sending them to a base like this. The spine's good for holding it. I love that. The girls here are really keen on going for a walk. This can't be a loss, right? Great use of the Viper. I bet you it cost us the Viper. Oh, the Vikings got it. Still sick, right? We came in. It'd be nice to have gotten a second blinding cloud off. This is good though. It wasn't great, but it's not the worst fights in the world. What's he going to do? He's not going to use that to kill that. And so while that's happening, see how this is empty? He never re-walled this. So this is exactly what I was talking about. He's going to keep focusing on where you give him the most attention. And if you keep attacking the same spot, you make it very easy for the Terran to just defend. So keep rotating around. We have overseers, right? We have tons of overseers. No, we only got one left because they got all Viking massacred. But use changelings, drop a bunch of changelings and send them into every base so you can see what he's got, and you can be you can be more aware of where to attack so that you're not taking these horrible fights. What are we doing? We've got all our upgrades, right? We're getting into Greater Spire, which is fantastic. Probably could get that. Probably not a bad idea. This probably wouldn't be a bad idea for the end game thors. As for mining, think everything's going well. We're taking our extra gases. We're floating a ton of money. Got a bunch of lava. We just really need to know where he is, and we need to figure out a position to push. So with the broodlords and corruptors, it's literally no ghosts. It's 3 thors, right? So for 3 thors, you probably want like 10 broodlords would easily crush this, and the BC just needs a couple of corruptors, easy done, and you can give him some real trouble. I would be morphing. Yeah, here we go. We're gonna crush this now with the Baneling, hopefully. No, we pull away and give him shots. That's a real shame. Creep spread literally up to the Terran's eyeballs. The reason you don't want to get to this point though with the Terran is because of how good mules are, and he can get a better economy off less workers than you, while your army also needs to be bigger in order to take better fights. We should be having overlords at any extra bases we can to make sure we're catching him trying to move out, because the last thing we want to do is give him a base. If it takes 8 minutes to mine a base out, every base we give him potentially delays the game by 8 minutes. So the quicker you start denying those bases, the easier all of this gets. Just double planetary here. We don't even need this. We don't even need to attack in this, because once we get into the natural, which we could do right now, right? Tell me that getting into the natural now would be really hard. It's a bunker with 1 marine in it, and all these productions up here. If your lurkers got here, you potentially end the game, or you potentially put yourself into a base trade. But you could also, if you see him crossing the map, go back to your base, grab a drone somewhere. There's got to be one somewhere. Drop a Nidus, VN, drop a Nidus, and then use that Nidus, hotkey the Nidus as well, those two don't forget, and then Nidus behind your lurkers, and then pick your lurkers up and take them out when everything's said and done. We can't fight what we don't know, and I don't feel like for how much money you have, and how much I feel like even with the bad trades, I feel like you're very much in a position to win this. We're just not figuring out where he is and just attacking the weakest spot. The Terran's only moved out once, besides the Hellion attacks, and he got absolutely crushed. And that's exactly what will happen if this happens again. These are really nice. I think they're very cute, but the problem is he's taking another base here. We've got no contesting. All of his army is here. Handful of tanks here. Like, this gets crushed by a couple of ultralisks. This gets crushed by... You could yoink these out, and then kill them with lings, and then roll in there with banes and kill it. But he's got huge gaps here. So when I play Mech Terran, I don't leave any gaps for lings to run in that aren't covered in planetaries. So this is really good. Hopefully we get... I don't think even the CCs... Nah, what's going on here? Too late. How does this work for the Vipers? They're coming over here, blinding clouding that, and then blinding clouding this. And this is why we don't want to use shift commands, right? Because we walked them over here, they came to here, blinding clouded this, then one of them blinding clouded that, while the rest of them got shot to death by the missile turret, and it delays everything too much. You've laid the blinding clouds down when your army is already dead. We see his army, right? It is basically just a handful of Vikings, a couple of Thors, and some BC. Your remap should look something like 30 Corruptors, maybe, making 10 Broodlords and a Viper, and you just walk over all of this. This is why I also didn't like the spines here, because they're in range of just getting siege from the high ground with nothing that can contest it. So the Vipers would have been really good here, right? You just pick up the tanks and move them into the lurkers, and hallelujah, it's all done. But because they sacked themselves for nothing, they can't help in this fight. We need to be moving drones around as well, obviously. Like, even to an oversaturated base would be great. Even taking this base would be great. We don't know what's here, right? And what we want to avoid is walking into like 10 tanks sitting somewhere ready for us with our lurker army. One tank here. We see 3 tanks. Do we think we're really going to break this? We will get through here. Yes, please. Yes, move, 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 move. We don't want the planetary, because the lurkers can handle that. We want to get rid of the tanks so the lurkers can do their job. Awesome stuff. Behind this, 42 lava worth of whatever the hell you want. We've taken the base off him. And we've forced him to finally move out. We can see on the map he's finally moving out. Again, we see what his army is. This dies to literally corruptors. You could even make 30, 40 corruptors and just like roll over the air army with such confidence, then like morph broodlords on his face. And then watch, like the Thors might get 1 or 2, but you'll get a refund anyway when those broodlords die. So therefore you get, it's a kind of an advantage because he's wasting DPS on units that aren't yet broodlords, and you'll get that refund back when they get killed. So if they don't morph into a full broodlord, if they get almost killed and finish a broodlord, they finish with full health. Like, it's almost like a win-win. If there's not enough Thors to just gun them down instantly, it's a win-win. And that way you sweep up the air army. What's left is tanks versus broodlords, which I think we all know is not good. Not a good fight. We need this killed though, right? He's scanning even though he can see this. The droney boys. The queen fought valiantly. It's not enough. What are we making? 7 broodlords and 2 corruptors. Where? What? 15 lings, 28 hydralisks. It's a tank army. These hydralisks are gonna get absolutely fucking annihilated. Please don't do this. Oh, you know what? The broodlords actually is very good timing. That worked out quite well, but the hydralisks are bad in this fight. Oh. Look how easily the hydralisks were dispatched by a handful of tanks. They should have just been corruptors, and you just roll over his air army, and then what's left gets broodlorded. He's going home. We can see it. We can see it, right? We've got 20 drones not working. A whole base. We're taking this base, which is nice. This base has been taken behind us. We could take the gold again. We have so much money. We should not be letting bases go like this. We should be taking every base we can. We've lost 2.5 bases to trading. Well, almost 3 bases to trading. He's starting to starve, but I wonder, is he tied up in a lot of production? Yeah, 4 BCs at a time. Whoa, 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 I missed. "13 corruptors. The Banes. What are the Banes for? The 1 Hellion. He's got 3 Hellions, but like, what are the Banes for? What are you morphing them for? They cost 75 minerals. They're not that good. Ultralisks get on top with the Lings. Easy. Because we didn't get into our second spire as easy. We saw him going air units and didn't even like quantify getting a second spire. Oh no, we did. We do have a second spire, but that's way too late. Way too late. This is gonna get crushed, right? Good catch here. Why not more than 4 corruptors? Why do we feel like 4 is the magic number here? He has a huge air army here. He has a base down here. Why are we not going for for the production. Again, we keep trying to leave, but the thing is, you don't know where the map, you don't know what the map looks like, you don't know where his bases are, you didn't know that he didn't have like a planetary here or whatever, or a bunch of tanks. Like you're roaming, just hoping that he doesn't block you in or have something to stop you. You know what I mean? Like you're betting a lot on this. Not moving the drones around is killing, obviously. We go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then back here we're done. That's a full base of mining we actually have. We're building drones for this when we have 20 drones roaming free. Wait, we finally gave him a job. Beautiful stuff. So, but then we have another like 9 drones not working because their gas signal's running out. BC here, I think he's been misrallied. The fact that he hasn't researched Yamato after making all these BCs is also criminal. No nuke as well. I'd love to see a nuke. He's got 19 SCVs. He could easily just like start mining this base. Yeah, here we go. What a game. I think your air army is going to run this over. Provided your upgrades are good enough, I'm not too sure, but corruptors are actually really good. I just don't think people appreciate how good corruptors actually are at anti-air. Why are we running in here with this versus Hellions? See, now that there's Hellions, we don't have Banes. We're always, because we're not keeping tabs on our opponent's army, we're always on the wrong one. One Viper here would change this immensely, right? And I'm gonna say it every single time this kind of thing happens. One Viper comes in here, drops a parasitic bomb. If he splits it, fantastic. He only loses 1 Viking from the thing. But good chance is he's not going to split it at all, and he's going to be copying like 1,000 damage across these units, and he can't even run away properly because then he's not doing damage, and he can't outrun the corruptors either. 4.7. 2.62 and 3.85 means there's no outrunning this. It just is what it is. We're in a position here where the Terran obviously doesn't know how to make units. For some reason he's not making thors. He's just like, thors actually crush Ultralisks so hard. See what happens here if we just push him? This whole time we could have just pushed him and just won. Where's our drones? Our drones need to be here, please. This thing should be ringing alarm bells for you the entire time it's happening. Crush the base, don't get too close. Actually, you know what? Finish the Vikings off. Go in, finish the Vikings off. I think you're in a good position here. Even fighting on top of the turret, I think this is a good position. Get the Ultralisks maybe to wrap around a little bit so they can start taking out some of these. But these, now that you're flying into like 4 or 5 turrets, not a good trade. What's he building? Tons of Liberators, a BC. He's dying, and you're on your last breath, but you've also got a decent army, a decent sized army, and you've still got a lot of workers, which is a real bonus to you. These are going to get nothing done. Oh, the BC helps a lot actually. But then we get over here, we kill this. These should be going back for a heal as well. We don't want to have that happen. This is sweet. See, now we've got his attention in multiple places. Oh, the drones come here to help out too. Shame he didn't get the kill. But now that we've got his attention in multiple places, it's going to be really hard for him to... He can't split an army to fight this, right? Please, no, just finish the CC off. Oh. Again, he's got an open base with nothing here. 30 supply up. You have almost 60 drones to 20 workers. He is not mining anything right now. Has a base over here. Probably has a ton of mules he could be dropping, but he's just not dropping. Take this base. you've got him in full panic mode now. This has to be a win, right? When they have a ground army and an air army, and their ground army can attack your air army, you don't even need units like Lings and Hydralisks and stuff to go in. Just clean out the air army and then like pee on a CC or something. Beautiful. Get rid of the turret. He's pulling back to he's not even. He never like pulls back to defend the natural. This man has no fear of losing his natural. I'd like to take these out just so you can. The least possible thing you can do is take out vision. We're floating a ton of money. We could be making Lings, which I really wouldn't recommend, but a handful of Banes right now would deal with this very good. Ling Bane would crush this, absolutely, and everything else gets crushed by other Corruptors, which are 2/2 Corruptors. It's not bad. This BC is not even going to get a shot off. Oh my god, he didn't, he he meant to Yamato. Go back, go back, go back. Absolutely godlike trade. Now, we're building 40 Lings, fantastic choice. No. 40 Lings, this is a lot of tanks, there's a lot of Hellbats. 40 Lings don't even dent these Hellbats. We don't have the gas, unfortunately, to go into better units, so we really should be thinking about pinching these. But I feel like if this is all your opponent has, even you could start going Swarm Host and picking this off. But we don't want to be donating Hydralisks. These are gas units. This gas is going to be what kills us in the end, right? Because this army dies to a handful of broodlords, and we're just handing him gas units over and over again. We're about to watch a bunch of Lings get nothing done. We built one broodlord in his face. We could have built more, but we didn't have the money because we built 40 Lings and then 28 Lings. We could have taken this base and killed these. If we had killed these, we might have had the forethought to then take the base and just drone it anyway. We're still floating. No, all of our drones are dead. All of our drones are working. They're working the mines. But at this stage, I think the Corruptors just need to go pee on stuff. The Lings just can't do anything against this. Hellbats are like the most extreme counter for Lings. The fact that we pulled into the Hellbats, we got lucky we didn't lose more, to be honest. We could be making another Broodlord. We could be making another Broodlord. Come on. More broodlords. Oh. And I think this is kind of how the story goes when you playing a 35-minute game versus this must be exhausting, right? But you didn't scout. You had no idea what he was doing. You teched into a bio-based sort of army, and then you kept taking fights that just didn't need to happen. So the way you beat this kind of crap, right, you let him have his 3 bases if he wants, but you have an overlord on every single base that isn't the third, a natural and the bane. And as soon as he kills the overlord, you move some units in to have a look, and then when he brings his army up to take the base, you just walk in with Lingbane and Ultra and whatever the fuck it is you want, and you absolutely crush it. Morphing these broodlords here also really stupid, right? Because it's going to take them ages to get to where this is, and I think honestly the tank Hellbat will kill so much more by then. Oh, at least we've got some broods here. This is good. We need to stop making fucking Lings. Make drones. Take a base. Don't make Lings. They're only getting damaged now because he's actually just moved commanding. He doesn't realise he's under attack, obviously. So this kind of worked out a lot better than it should have. Look at the broods. They crushed it. 3 broods. Took care of that huge army. We moved the drones. Fantastic stuff. Now that the threat's dealt with, we want to go home. Right? We need to go home because there's no base here. Finally kill this. Fantastic stuff. There's 1,000 gas here. 1,100 gas here. There's actually a rich Vespene geyser here, which could be helpful. These two geysers. The geysers here have barely been touched. Has he got... Didn't even get that. Like, you're dropping planetaries and missile turrets everywhere. And don't even bother getting range for it. High-sec auto tracking. Absolutely wild. How many CCs? 4 orbitals. So like 1,000 minerals a minute can be recovered if he wants to do that. They don't get extra minerals, I believe, from gold, which makes this kind of a bad play. I mean, he'd be better off like lifting up his main to here and just taking it. I felt like it was a bit slow. But yeah, we're playing so blind that we can't possibly be making good choices. Like we were just hammering him, picking like the worst fights possible and hammering him. Almost every time he took a fight off creep where you caught him, it was an easy kill for you. Right? The one that was over here with the Hydralisks. Why? Imagine, right, you had 28 Hydralisks, what's that, like 1,000, no, way more than that. 1,500 gas? 1,500 gas, almost 1,500 gas, right? Instead, you had Corruptors, you had a big Corruptor army anyway. The Corruptor army comes in, sweeps everything up, flies away, and then turns itself into 10 broodlords. There's only 2-3 thors there, at best. You clean up that entire tank Thor army without a sweat, and then you have all that money left over for whatever you want next. But instead, the Hydralisks are not good versus tanks. They're like a very strong no-no against tanks. Here's going to be rough though, because this is a perfect kind of combination versus what you've got. This was just so close. This was so close in so many ways, and only like 30,000 resource different though, and you absorbed a lot more mining than he did. There's the creep spread. I really want to commend this. I can't stop commending this. But the things that are the biggest problems to me, let's have a look at the timeline. I think the lack of vision and the lack of forethought going into every single fight you had. Basically. The lack of forethought going into, let me, where's my little checklisty boy? Wait, how do I... Wait. Oh. How do I... Problem 1, no scouting. No information whatsoever. Problem 2, when given information, didn't react correctly. I.e. Mech comp, but no Roach Warren, and no attack upgrade, no urgency on Hive or attack upgrades. Carapace is no versus Mech. if you're wondering why, it's because mech units do way too much damage. It's basically useless to upgrade armor unless you have run out, or I don't know, he's massing Hellions and you're only building roaches or something and you just want the extra army, then go for it, knock yourself out. 3, taking fights with no vision. So if we haven't got changelings on the map, we can't see where weak points are, we can't see where his army actually is. Like simple things like this, like seeing his army on the 4th, you attack the 3rd. Seeing army on the 3rd, you attack the 4th or the 5th. You never go where the majority of his army is sitting, and like if you have to destroy, if you have to sack an overseer every minute to get that information, great, but changelings will do it just as well, right? So those are the biggest sore points for me. I'm actually shocked that we lost that, because look, you were doing a lot of really good things. Like you were kind of bullying him and beating him up anyway, and it just happened to like not come to fruition at the very end of it, which is a real shame. So I think the creep spread was really good for where you are, but we didn't move our first overlord out. We didn't have overlord vision on the map at all in any of the Hellion spots. We didn't see him move out. We never saw him move out unless like he moved onto your creep spread, which again was very good. Like you played almost essentially as blind as you possibly could play, which is fantastic if you're just taking the entire tech tree and droning up insanely well and then just bullying your opponent. But as I discussed, I think it was one of those the fights where you break the planetary and you break the base, you just leave. You don't have to fight uphill into tanks with hydralisks, which fucking suck versus that. You can just crush the base, leave, rotate, go around, and then attack another base while he's trying to defend that, while he's trying to like regather and regroup his forces. You keep that up and you do that enough, eventually he cannot afford to even build a wall, and that's when like Ling run-bys can become super good, because they can just literally run straight through, go into the main, and start attacking the production. When you see his army coming into the main to kill the Lings, then you go attack the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th again, right? He cannot, he can, but it's very hard for him to judge where all of his big, expensive, heavy units are, right? He can have a couple of tanks here and a couple of Hellions here, but for him to get the exact right composition, the right mix of everything in the right spot is going to be very difficult for him. And so the compensation there is walling for Terran. The compensation there for Terrans is walling off, and it's tanks behind planetaries. And so when you start removing the wall and you start removing the planetary, the tanks by themselves pose no real threat to like a proper Ling flood. Hellbats, please don't make, like again, like we made, like I showed you, we made Banes versus an army that really didn't have anything that Banes are good against at all, and then versus armies that had units that the Banes would have been good against. We didn't make Banes because we're gas starved trying to make broodlords. We overmade corruptors at the end there, which is a real shame. But we didn't really end up using them to pee on anything either. Like you could have gone down to his production and started pissing on, just put like 3-4 broodlords on every single factory, and now his production's gone as well. So like there's a lot that can be done with the broodlords, the corruptors, that we just didn't do. It's a real shame, but that's the way it is. So hopefully this helps. But an intense game, and I imagine that loss would have really hurt. I think I'd be pretty frustrated by that. But at the end of the day, when we have a good economy, we need to spend it while we have it, so we can try and win the game. The way you were spending it and the urgency you had in spending it almost felt like you were trying to delay the game. And I know that wasn't the intention, right? No one wants to have a 35-minute TVZ that they just lose in the last minute because they didn't have Hellbats and they didn't have quite enough, like you're missing like 3 broodlords and boom, it would have been a sweep, right? No one wants to lose those games, but when you finally started getting some victories, you just sat back and took 5 minutes off the pedal for no reason. You had money, you had supply free, you had gas, you had tech. You could have just gone again with like Ultralisk, Ling and just run in again and kept ramming him until he's stuck on 2 bases, literally sitting in his main and he's natural at 20 minutes. And then you can do whatever you want. You can take his 3rd off him, he can take his 4th off him, but what we don't want is to take the pedal off when we finally get a breakthrough, right? Crushing his army when it came out to the map the first time was huge, and yet we didn't really capitalize on it. Instead, what we wanted to do is we attacked into a position that had all the tanks there, with a planetary fortress there. We moved the Banes, and they had to go around the whole thing. The Hydralisks went up the ramp. You took a decent fight. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot there. But there's a lot of gaps in the knowledge, obviously. There's no vision. The fact that the first Overlord didn't move across the map, I've never seen that. I think even silver players move it across. I'm not sure how you feel like that is helping you, or you don't feel like you've got the APM for that, but that should be one of the very first clicks you make. You make a drone and you move the Overlord across. If you're worried about losing the Overlord, I would say stiff shit to that, because you need to find out roughly what they are doing and what they're not doing. I don't know how many games you're losing to proxies in that, but having an Overlord over the other side of the map helps a ton. Alright, that's it from me. If you've got replays, do send them through. I think it's omgitsduane@gmail.com. And that's it. Yeah, if you want to get roasted, send them in.